Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Bob Pompeani here. We have a lot to get into. NCAA tournament coming to Pittsburgh. Pirates lockout. It's over. Penguins win a big game, but the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is legal tampering. We're going to tamper legally, and we're going to do it by starting with Tom Brady coming back to the NFL. Do you believe it? Here's your panel tonight to discuss all of this and more. We have Jason Mackey down below me, fresh with the new mustache here from the Post-Gazette covering the Pirates. He's down in Florida. We also have Chris Mack from the Fan Morning Show over to my right, your left, depending on how you're looking in this. Below him, it's Jeff Hathhorn, sports director at 93.7 The Fan. So, Jason, I want to start with you. Tom Brady is back. It took 40 days. Maybe Giselle got tired of him, too many chores, whatever the case may be. So now all of a sudden this quarterback stuff, he goes there. It looks like you're going to see Minnesota return Kirk Cousins. Your thoughts about Brady and what it does to the quarterback opportunities for the Steelers?
Well, Pomp, you know, I say this in the most loving way to my wife, but as a baseball writer, somebody who spends a lot of time away from home and then you come home for a while, they're not used to having you there. You're not used to being there. It's a weird thing, man. So I don't know if that's what went into Tom Brady's decision. Frankly, I'm not the least bit surprised. I don't know what you guys think, but whenever he retired, I thought, here's the guy playing at the absolute top of his game, and he's going to walk away? If Tom Brady didn't have it, if he was hurt, that wouldn't surprise me. But the fact that he went out the way he did, there's still so much more there. And clearly he's not done. The ripple effects and what this does, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Gronk has to come back, right? We have talked or will talk about Ryan Jensen, his center, probably, you know, formerly a target for the Steelers. Not going to happen now. And Tampa Bay is suddenly still legitimate. There's not going to be any trail off there, but I can't say that I'm surprised.
I know who's celebrating, the Roethlisberger household. When he goes into that Hall of Fame, no Tom Brady. You know, he doesn't have to deal with any of that for his Hall of Fame induction, so that's good, I guess. I am surprised. I thought Tom Brady was done. Obviously, he came back so he could come back with the Bucs. He could sign and then be traded to the Steelers so we could start that rumor.
Oh, stop it.
But I thought he was going to walk away on the top. I am surprised. I'm actually kind of a little, I don't know, disappointed because I was ready to move on from the Tom Brady time.
Not now.
Yeah, I'll be honest, guys. I give him credit for making the decision now before, you know, he could have dragged this out all offseason. But it does affect the Steelers. You know, Jason mentioned the idea of Ryan Jensen maybe not being a target in free agency now. You could look at the other side of the ball. Carlton Davis and Jordan Whitehead perhaps looking to stick in Tampa if they can try and keep that core, that nucleus around with Brady returning. Those are the real impacts right away. And then you start to look down the road. That's one fewer team out there that is looking for a quarterback now. So whether you're looking for a veteran free agent, maybe you think a Jameis Winston is the right kind of guy, although I certainly don't. Maybe it's about the first round of the NFL draft and fewer teams picking in front of the Steelers who may be looking for quarterbacks now, especially if Carolina ends up securing Deshaun Watson. So all of a sudden you look at the most recent mock drafts, especially Todd McShay's from the other day at ESPN, and you see Kenny Pickett sliding all the way to 18 and Malik Willis being right there for the Steelers at 20. There's a lot of practical impacts to every single quarterback move this offseason, not the least of which is Tom Brady returning.
All right, so I will ask you guys then to give me, at the start of the NFL season coming up here in September, what is the most likely scenario for the Steelers at quarterback? I still believe it's going to be Mason Rudolph battling somebody, maybe Trubisky, maybe Mariota, maybe somebody like that, along with, you know, Haskins, and we'll see who wins that battle. But I can't see anything beyond that, although a lot of people, Jason, seem to believe that, you know, Deshaun Watson could end up here, which I dismissed as soon as I heard that. Am I wrong for doing that?
I'm with you, Pomp. I don't see any way that makes sense. I don't see the Steelers going that route. I mean, the messaging that we've heard out of the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex is very much, to me, Mason Rudolph is going to be our guy unless Dwayne Haskins is an absolute revelation in training camp. And, you know, the first round grade, I know we talk about this a lot, but I legitimately think they were very high on Mason Rudolph. And whether they're right or wrong, I think he's going to get a chance to earn that job. Now, will they bring somebody in, a Mitch Trubisky or whomever? Yeah, I think that's a fairly likely scenario. In a perfect world, would I like to see them draft a Kenny Pickett? Yeah, sure, maybe. But I would much rather see them invest some draft capital into the offensive line, into the defensive line, or whatever. And if you ask me who week 1 is going to be starting for them, the most logical person, it's not the most exciting, but to me, the most logical is Mason Rudolph.
It's why these discussions are so tough this time of year, because Tom Brady returns, Russell Wilson is traded. You have Aaron Rodgers going back to the Packers. All these things that you thought were out there get cleared up. So now it changes not only draft boards, but free agency wants for different teams. So I believe it's going to be a second-tier free agent that will be battling against Mason Rudolph to be the starter. But that could change. If Pickett were to drop, he would get an opportunity. But I don't see the Steelers going after a big-time free agent. They have too many holes to fill, and I think they're going to spread some of that money out, not just on that, but also use some of it for Minka and some of their other signings they want to do.
Yeah, the writing's been on the wall since they drafted him and touted him as having a first-round grade. This is Mason Rudolph's job. They're going to give him that opportunity. I do think it's interesting. You've heard the rumblings of Jacoby Brissett pop up in the last few days, his connection with Matt Canada. And I do think by all reports from people both at the Senior Bowl and the Combine, they're somewhat smitten with Malik Willis. So wouldn't it make sense then if you have Rudolph as the incumbent, you want to see what he can do, and you somehow fall into a rookie quarterback, maybe a Willis at 20, that you've also got a veteran in place to help bring him along, like, I don't know, a Brissett, for example, or a Bridgewater, for example. I don't know what the price tags will be on those guys. I'd rather see them use free agency to create insurance policies at all those positions of need they have, probably aside from quarterback, so that when they do get to the first round of the draft, they're not picking for need. And they feel like they can just take whatever comes to them at 20th and maybe even trade back and gain some more picks, because they do, despite all the stars on the defensive side of the ball especially, they do have a lot of holes to fill.
Time constraints allow me to ask this in a yes or no format. So yes or no, Jason, Jimmy Garoppolo ends up as the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback?
No.
Jeff?
Oh, hell no.
Do you see the face I made there, guys? No, thanks. No,
I agree.
No, Jimmy G.
Hell no is pretty strong. That's good, Jeff. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, you can say hell yes. The Penguins won a big game today, and they also have some needs. But what do they do at the trade deadline? Ron Hextall was kind of nonchalant about it. Should they make a big deal or not? We'll talk about it next right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.